Can you tell me your age of birth, where all you've lived, your current age, and the jobs that you've had?
Well, my age is 74 years old. I was born in Delphus, Ohio, December 16th, 1944. I've lived in, of course, obviously, Delphus when I was born, Lima, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and that's pretty much it. Jobs I've had, of course, I had summer jobs at the Ohio Department of Transportation, ENR trailer sales, doing grunt work, labor work type work. I attended Ohio State University and then took a job with the Ohio Department of Transportation doing engineering, civil engineering work. Worked there 42 years, retired in 2010, and have been a part-time consultant engineer since that time, doing consulting work on construction project management and dispute resolution.
Nice.
How's that?
That's good. I forgot to, uh, you need to say your name too. I forgot to ask that.
Oh, my name is Bruce Mary.
Thanks. Um, Describe your birth family and other, or and like a childhood memory or like favorite event from back then.
Favorite event from your childhood?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Okay. Dang. I guess that's hard to quantify. Normal childhood. I guess favorite event. That's hard. I really can't. Uh, I guess probably you know, something akin to graduating from high school, which is a big event in your life, getting out, but then going on to college. But in my childhood, most of your favorite events are associated with Christmas and gifts you may have gotten, things like that. But as far as to enumerate a single event, I really can't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's good. What's the best thing about aging and what's the worst thing about aging?
Well, the best thing I think you get wiser as you get older. You don't do some of the stupid things you did when you were younger. Uh, the worst thing about aging is the fact that you're aging. You can't do things you did before. You don't play golf as well as you did before. You're a little slower. You're a little weaker. Things of that nature.
Yeah.
Part of the bad things about aging is the other people, your friends and everybody are aging also, and you start losing them. Yeah. So that's the worst thing.
What is the most exciting change that you've seen in your lifetime, like in society or just like where you live?
Well, I mean, I've lived through a lot of, I guess you would say a lot of changes. The world is much more diverse right now than it used to be. It was very segregated when I was growing up. I think it's the best thing. That it's become more diverse, more accepting. So definitely more in general.
Yeah.
I'm not saying specifically because a lot of people aren't very accepting of the diversity we have now, but I think that's good. That's exciting. I guess more inclusive. And the technology has just exploded. Things like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Nobody ever thought they could do. That was science fiction back when I was young. And it's not science fiction anymore. It's an everyday thing. Even I can do some of it. Mm-hmm. But I guess that's exciting. The technology. Because all of that applies to the jobs I do or my sons do. It relies on technology.
Yeah.
More so than, say, mine. But anyways.
What's
I would
the
say
worst change you think you've seen?
that's exciting. I think society's changed for the better from when I was younger. So,
Yeah. What do you think's the worst change over time?
what do you think's the worst change?
Yeah.
I think society, with all its changes, is less polite than it was than it used to be.
Yeah.
I don't think people are as sometimes I think they're more self-centered than they used to be. I don't. You're young. I don't know if you feel that way, but
yeah.
I think people were a little more polite. Maybe that's the bad way to think about it, but it just seems like people aren't as just a little more rough around the edges than they used to be in general. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. They want us to ask about like your faith and beliefs, and like I'm curious about how like you feel your beliefs are compared to what a lot of people's beliefs are now.
That's a interesting question. Are you talking my religious beliefs or just my general beliefs and
either one, whatever one you want to answer.
And say that again, the question.
Like how your beliefs or your set of beliefs, like do you think a lot of people have those same set of beliefs now? Or do you think that's changed a lot?
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that don't have the same beliefs I do. Okay, there's a lot of people who are prejudiced. I don't feel that I am. There's a lot of people that are more self-centered than I think I am. We all think we're a certain thing. Maybe we aren't, but we all think we're a certain way. But the world's full of people, a lot of people with a lot of divergent beliefs, and some aren't necessarily bad. They're a different way of thinking. So I guess I feel there's a lot of people that believe the same way I do, or at least in general the same way I do. And there's also a lot of people that don't. And like I said, some are, the fact that they don't believe the same way I do in some things doesn't make them bad. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
They may be perfectly legitimate beliefs. Okay. I mean, it's just like the various political groups, be it Democrat or Republican. They don't always agree with themselves. Don't make each other, but doesn't necessarily make them bad.
Yeah.
So I feel the same way about a lot of things. There are some things that I feel that their beliefs are bad. But especially if they're dangerous type stuff. But is that work
that's
for
good.
you? Okay.
What do you regret the most in life, and would you do it over, or why? And why?
Would I? Well, in general, my personality, I'm relatively conservative about things, especially about emotional type things. Try and not show a lot of emotion, I guess you would say. You probably regret that maybe you weren't a little more open over your lifetime in your feelings. Because I know I'm that way. Well, maybe I should have said something. Maybe I should have did this. Maybe I should. We all say that, and that'd probably be good starting point for me.
Yeah. Would you change that, or would
try
you
try and do some things over again that I did in the past? So maybe be a little more open type thing.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I think my legacy to be is I think my legacy is my sons and my grandchildren, and how they turned out.
Mhm.
I think whether we had any influence or not, I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody seems to be good. Both my sons are pretty successful in what they do. They've raised good children. They all seem to be pretty nice kids. Right?
Oh yeah.
No, they do. They're all good kids.
Trying to get me bonus points.
No? No, I'm not. You're supposed to interview somebody that you don't know, I guess, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Other
Okay, we're gonna get back to business.
Okay.
What advice?
No, that's that's what I feel my legacy is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't necessarily have to be famous. I just know that I've done a pretty good job in what I did, and fairly proud of it.
Yeah.
So, and how they turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's hard to, in talking about emotions and stuff like that, like we did before. Sometimes that's hard to express. Mm-hmm. You probably wouldn't hear me say that if you hadn't asked that question.
Yeah.
And since it's your survey, I got to be honest.
What advice would you give about a meaningful life?
Well, I think a meaningful life is, and that's probably one of the things I regret. I wasn't more active in doing things for, as far as volunteering and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did things for people, helped them out, done stuff like that. But, you know, a lot of people get some meaning out of that. I think a mix of that is good for people. Like I say, I probably regret that I don't get involved. I'm not a big getting involved person. I guess that's, you know. Now, if somebody asks me, gladly do it. But sometimes I'm a little hesitant to ask.
Yeah.
And because I don't know if that's because you're afraid to be turned down, or you're afraid people feel like you're butting in or intruding. That's why when I was a kid, I never liked Halloween. To go out and ask for candy.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's part of that. What you regret that you didn't do.
Yeah.
Part of it. I go back to that, but okay.
Yeah. What advice do you remember from your parents or role models? And then what advice would you give to our generation?
Well, my role models were, you know, my parents, and my mother was very, I won't say demanding, but she was tough. But, you know, she wanted the best for me and gave me a lot of guidance, mostly about work, as you know, my father did. It's more about living the example than telling me. Mm-hmm. Other than they made it, I'm the first one in my family to go to college. Okay, and they made it fairly clear that was what they wanted my goal to be. Now, luckily, it was the same goal I wanted, but they instilled that into me.
Yeah.
So.
And then, what advice would you give to my generation?
Well, I guess, number one, I'd ask you to think for yourself and not let people have undue influence on your thinking. It's all right to take advice from people, but it's also up to you to evaluate it, determine if it's right or wrong, and not let other people do the thinking for you.
That's
Does
good.
that work?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.